Welcome back to another episode of Fettcraft. I had recorded about 8 previous episodes, but they were all messed up in some way or another because the audio didn't do exactly what it was supposed to do. Well, it worked at the beginning, and then it started going squiffy on me, and then it would work at the end. And uh, I may, I don't know what I'm going to do about that, but for now, I'm just gonna record a quick episode here. Well, hopefully it's probably at least 20 minutes, just to kind of see where we are. Just gonna go back to where the audio doesn't do its thing. All right, so what I had done in the very previous episode was create a new ender. Don't mind this, I was just testing some things out here. I realized the being able to change daylight sensors to inverted was something that didn't happen until 1.8. I was hoping that it was something that happened later in 1.7, but it was 1.8 where you can right click on a daylight sensor and change it to an inverted daylight sensor. That's not the case anymore. What I had showed was adding this third ender quarry and how to build it and the setting it up and all of that good stuff. So I guess I'll just end up adding a fourth ender quarry and show how to build that and re-record it all again. And this is not doing what it's supposed to do. Let's let that power build back up, and then we'll put it back on. I found that if you have one of those upgrades for the ender quarry and the power's not quite right, sometimes removing it and putting it back on once it's the power's gone up to full, it tends to then allow the power to stay closer to full, at least for a while. These two have no problems running off the turbines. Got two ender quarries running at 10 million RF pretty consistently and not losing their charge very much. This one does a little bit. I guess they're both losing at about the same rate, but gain it right back. So the wind turbines seem to be handling these two fine, but man, this X80 power usage that this Ender Quarry Fortune 3 upgrade inflicts upon your Ender Quarry power usage that's crazy. It's 80 times the amount of power that either one of these is using to do the Fortune 3. I wish you could just tell it to do Fortune 3 on just the blocks that you wanted to do Fortune 3 on, and then have it just operate as a regular Ender Quarry the rest of the time. So like say, hey, if you find a diamond block, Fortune 3 that. But if you find pretty much, or maybe Certus Quartz, and other than that, I mean, I have over 100,000 coal, so I don't really need it to fortune coal for me. I put it on so it would fortune, well, we're back up, so it would fortune the diamonds, obviously. But diamonds have now become less of a problem, so I may end up just running this without the thing anyways. But you see now how it kind of is hovering and it stays up at the 10 million once I took it off and let it fill up. And it does periodically go down for whatever reason, which kind of feels glitchy to me. It may be something that's related to server lag or something like that. But either it's taking power or it isn't. And right now it looks like this thing's using the same amount of power that these two things are. But it's obviously not. It's using 80 times more. But it's not reflecting in that right now for whatever reason. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But at any rate, I had set up these ender quarries. I had set up that one in the last video, which is pretty much for naught because more than half of it is ruined. The audio is ruined. But this thing is quarrying this area here. The other ender marker is just over here on the other side of that bit of lava that I turned into obsidian. There it is, right there. And this, the second one that I made is quarrying. There's an ender marker that's just over there on that little bit of land there. And then there's one that's 3,000 blocks out that way. And this one has its other one 3,000 blocks out that way. So, and this one is like 2000 by 2000, or well, this one's marker is just on the other side of that hill there, and this marker out there is about 2000, maybe it's about 2000 blocks out. So this Fortune 3 one is doing a smaller area than either one of these are, but like I said, it's doing it with a Fortune 3 pick. Let's see what the power is. Yeah, see, it's holding now, which is weird. So we'll go back to the base. Take a look around at some things that have changed. The horse out there died. Dumb horse. Dead horse. And I had showed. Well, here's the invisible pressure plates. Ooh, ooh, pretty. And then this new setup for, I don't know, the factory room or whatever you want to call this area. ME Central. And in the basement down here, we have two controllers going. We have stuff coming in pretty quick. We have cobble coming in all at a decent pace. I'm going to time that at some point and see what rate of cobble we have now that we have 3 ender quarries going. But that's a pretty good pace, it looks like. It's to support making these compressed cobbles that I'm trying to make. So, and you see I'm allowing 90,000 in now, so I can make these compressed cobble at will, not have to worry about it. It's unfortunate in the old version of AE and AE1, the system that allowed you to do auto crafting would craft, like if I told it to craft something like this septuple, and let's say that the deep storage unit had 5 million cobble in it, but only 256 of them were in here. Well, it wouldn't matter in the old system, and maybe I'm missing something with this new system, but in the old system, if I told it to craft one of these septuples, it would first try and craft just the regular compressed cobblestone, and it would craft them basically one at a time. And as it crafted them, the ME system, the way it was set up with these level emitters, would recognize that cobblestone had been pulled out of the ME system and it was low, and then it would push cobble back in. That's not working now for whatever reason. Maybe it has something to do with I've set this up in a different way than I did on the last server that had just regular AE1, or it has something to do with this new way that they do crafting, which is with these molecular assemblers and these crafting storage units, the processing units. These are the 3 basically computers that store all the crafting processes, allow you to do crafting, and you have to have multiples if you want to do multiple crafting at a time. So yeah, I don't know. I may be missing something. I'll probably go into that more in a later video. But this is down here. Those are the processing units. These are the inscribers that are all automated. They all I can tell it to make a logic circuit, and it will craft the silicon chip if it needs it, and then craft the logic chip, and then craft it into a full logic processor. And I just have this back here so I can access the interfaces if I ever need to. But otherwise, these are all the cable facades to make it look pretty. And this is an ME interface full block, so I could put molecular assemblers on either side of it, and then it's just the interface itself is now just using one of the channels, as opposed to if I put the small interface, and I would have had to put one on each one of these, and that would have taken up 3 channels. So I'm saving 2 channels here, essentially, by having just big interface. And if I put another molecular assembler, say up here, I'd be saving 3 channels, or if I put one behind it, you get the idea. So that's that. There's the QED, which in the previous episode that got messed up, I showed you how to make the markers in it. I'll probably make another ender quarry, and I will record all that and show you. I just want to record this and make sure everything's working okay. And show you down here, we added, as you can see, lights to here. F7, you see that they get almost but not quite the entire room. You see the middle's not quite being illuminated by those just regular old vanilla redstone lamps. And there's some, redstone wiring up there, and there's a row of them down there on the bottom too. There are some dark areas on the bottom as well, but they all lead over here to this switch, which if I flip, it gets dark in there, and now mobs can spawn in there. So I did that because we've gotten to the point where we don't really need ender pearls, and these tanks are full. There's, I don't know, something like 40 tanks here. Was it 1, 2, 3? Maybe even a level under this. There's at least 30, if not 40 tanks here, and they're all full of, each one of these blocks is 16 buckets of mob essence, which is, quite a bit. It's going to be enough to run these for a while. And it's not like I can't turn that room back on and flip the ender quarry back on and start collecting pearls if I ever need them. But right now we don't, and it's kind of nice to not have those mobs spawning, because you can hear them when they spawn. And this room fills up with mobs. You can hear them when you're down here in the smeltery farming house here. We're gonna have to give all these houses some names. Yeah, whenever those mobs are spawning, it's right under here. It's like basically right under this area. That room is right under here, and you can hear them all over the place. As you see here, we've got the wood to all jungle wood planks down here. We just did this last night, and I made the facade to make that look nice. We have our tools up there. Full crops, what you're seeing. Oh, and this is something new. I figured out how the mangrove trees work. The deal with these is you want to plant them on like a pedestal. So you can see there's some sand in there. And when these things grow, they destroy all the blocks where their wood is, basically. So I built a pedestal that was of sand. I think it was right about here where I planted this tree, and then I bone mealed it, and grew up, and it grew down, and you can see it growing down into the water there. This one I made a little high, or because it was a little tree, it didn't quite make it into the water, so it's hovering. And this one was a little bit low, and so it's down low. And all those over here were experimentations too, but you can see how they grow. I bone mealed all of them. I don't know if you can just leave the thing and let it grow. In fact, I had planted one over there while I was doing some others, and I came back and it had popped out of the sand and was just laying there as an item. So I'm not sure what's up with that. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Here's a little boardwalk that Julie built over to Jen's new build, which is quite cool. Look at all the lovely flowers. And you go in here, and there's a kitchen. There's a table. Sit down at the table. Hey, where's my food? I want some food. Give me some food. Shut off the hovers. Nice little sink. Got a kitchen cabinet. Another kitchen cabinet. And another one. 2 ovens. Okay. There's another oven down there. A fridge. And a freezer. Cool. This floor is really neat. I like this. Looks cool. Really cool. I like this. This is a cool little thing. Paint cans that you use to do some of the painting. Here's the aquarium dark room sitting area. This is a really neat idea. The trick with these corals is, one, they have to be placed on sand, and two, they can't be touching the glass block. They can't be touching any other blocks. If they're touching the block, then they look like they're planted in air, and the water doesn't like flow into them and around them. But as long as they're not touching one of the blocks, then they look like they're underwater, and that looks pretty neat. Little record player, jukebox. Painted colored glowstone, I mean. Oh, I missed these before, the coral paintings. That's cool. They look really nice. The lamp matches the room. Let's go up here, and this is going to be a bedroom. I think she's still working on fleshing this out. And a little balcony area with some pretty potted plants. So that's cool. Very good job. She did that in just really a day. And I don't think she's finished, but, you know, the fact that she got all this built in a day and fleshed out like that, that's awesome. Very awesome. Julie has just started work on a tree house, and she's still working out the details on this. And I'm sure it's going to be much more elaborate than this once it's done. But that's a good start. I like the tree houses. I've encouraged her to build like maybe another tree house here and one there and one there, and like connect them all with walkways. And I think that would look cool. And here's my build. The half a globe under the water. And I'm gonna build something on top of here, like a little platform, and put an elevator block in here, or like on a platform that's just one up, and that'll go over to the shore. But I had recorded an episode about this, and while doing this, and the sound went squiffy on that too. But basically, how I built this was, I didn't clear this lake out like with leaf blocks and just destroy all the blocks. I left the water here while I built it, and went through a whole bunch of underwater breathing potions, you know, with the blowfish. Hey, look, there's one little bit of rain. And that looks cool. At any rate, this is a 21 by 21 circle here on the bottom, and then these next two are 21 by 21 circles, and this one up here is a 19 circle, then a 17, and a 15, and a 13, 11, and then it finishes with nines and just closed in there at the top. In fact, that last little bit is a 7 circle. The best circle you can do in Minecraft using blocks anyways. No, I just used underwater breathing potions and fleshed out the circle, dug this area down, you know, all underwater, and then started laying, once I had the circle laid down in dirt, I replaced it with glass and then built up, and then I did it a quarter at a time, so I did like this side, then this side, then this side, then this side, and I had dirt walls in here to block off the water from the area I was doing. You're derping through the wall, dude. And then I just filled up the area with dirt blocks, and then from the top dug down, and there was a space with no water in it, and I did that 4 times, and I have this thing. What I'm going to end up doing with this, I'm not entirely certain. I will figure that out in time, I'm sure. Now let's find the hole, and as I was fleshing this thing out, trying to get, you know, this at first I was just doing the rise like one at a time, one, you know, go up to the next smaller circle. But I realized that made it kind of too flat, and it didn't look dome-like at all, because you need the profile, the side from here to here, to also match the circle from, you know, the diameter of the circle, or the radius of the circle, or the circumference. The curve of the circle needs to also be reflected in the side too. So that's why there's 2 there, and then 2, and then there's 1s up. That's how that works out on the side. So it's 2, 2, and then 1s. And if I'd gone all the way to the peak, then there would have been 1 more higher. But since I'm going to build something on top, I just left that bit flat. So this is just flat here. So while I was fleshing that out to get it all right, I built over here a little dirt hill, dirt mound, hobbit hole to see what that was going to look like in dirt, to make sure I was getting it all right. And going through this process a couple times, actually, because the first time I did it, excuse me, I did it with just the one up and then the next smaller size circle and then one up, next smaller size circle. And the problem is that makes it like it doesn't come out right. It doesn't come out with a kind of curve. It comes out with a straight slope, you know. So it looks more like a pyramid than it does a dome when you do it that way. When you follow the same pattern of the curve on the ground and you just transfer that here, then you get more of a dome shape, obviously. So I was thinking about taking this down as I was building it, but Julie and Jen kind of liked it. They were like, hey, it looks like an amphitheater, so maybe we'll clean this up, maybe make it out of a different material, or surface it in a different material and use it for like a little amphitheater. Put some stands up here and we'll do shows or something. And there's the mangrove. Seen that. There's not much else new, I don't think. When Julie and Jen get on, we'll probably do a proper recap up to this date tour of the server. And it'll be more fun to do it that way. But for now, this should be good enough, and mostly since I'm just making sure that everything is okay with the recording and I'm not having the problems again. I completely rebooted the computer and fewer things are running. I hadn't rebooted my computer in a while, and that hopefully that's what was contributing to the sound problem. So yeah, hopefully this works, and if so, there'll be more to come. And I thank you for watching When Pigs Fly.